pre-dawn quake hit in southern Turkey with a 7.8 magnitude.
Damage is spread out across such a large geographical region. We've been here for a little over 24 hours. Got teams in 4 different of the worst hit cities.
بيتي وراح اولاد اخوي 2 راح الوالد والحمد لله هلا بدنا نفجر وين رايحين بدنا نروح لا نعرف وين بدنا نروح.
Doesn't matter in which direction you look, somebody has been affected.
So guys, this is very much what Bull Central Kitchen has been doing here. Here you can see the team.
We've set up a warehouse in Osmaniye. We also have a field kitchen here. And this is full of food product, equipment, all sorts of supplies that we are pushing out to all of our field kitchens and areas in need across the region.
This is the town of Morak, and this is a central kitchen they have. They have 3-4 pots. They need more pots. That's what we're getting them.
North, this is very important. Elbistan.
In Elbistan, we found this amazing group of chefs. This is one of the biggest earthquakes in the history that we've experienced. 300 kilometers from one end to the other where cities they've been affected.
I am in Syria, Aziz, Syria, just across the border from Turkey. Brought a bunch of supplies with us.
A lot of those Syrians displaced from the war were living in the earthquake zone and the cities that have been destroyed. We're looking at least a couple months of support with hot meals at minimal.
It's been really important that the community kitchens are able to get meals out into remote villages and areas that are not very accessible. So we've brought vans, food trucks, and vehicles along with staff that are helping push that food out, bringing it to the people, directly door to door, doing that last mile delivery.
This kitchen that you see behind me was built in less than 48 hours.
In this room, I wish you could see it, we have many Turkish people that they are the ones contacting with all the other Turkish people that we have in more than 18 cities all across Turkey right now. They want to rebuild. They want to look at the future with hope. And in a way, that's what we do with food. I love what the people of Turkey, they've done from day one. Everybody in the back of their cars, wherever they could cook in their home, coming from 100 and 200 and 500 kilometers, arriving to the sites where the SAR teams will be trying to rescue people and feeding them at 4 and 5 and 6 a.m. in the morning. This is the spirit of the Turkish people, and I want the Turkish people to be so proud.
Mobilizing people by delegating, by decentralizing this response across the very, very many communities that need our support. We've been able to move quickly, we've been able to get food out and really help the people in this incredibly difficult time of need.
There comes a point
My father's king. He's lying.
when keeping families together
These individuals are just taken. It's like a dictatorship.
means tearing an entire system apart.
They've become experts in saving people from being deported at the last second.
It's going to break the rules a little bit.
He's getting deported today. It requires you to drop your life.
It feels like you're at war.
Guerrilla Habeas, Sunday, February 5th at 10 on MSNBC, part of the Turning Point documentary series.
The documentary highlights the fact that while, it was filmed during the Trump administration, this has happened through successive administrations. And I think that, from my perspective and from the perspective of RFK Human Rights and our work, detention should not exist in this context as a civil detention. And we fight to ensure that people have the right to afford themselves the laws in the United States and to make any and all applications they're legally able to do.
There's so many, there are millions of mixed status families in our country, people who, have children who have been born here and who have done everything they can to get with the system and get right with the system. When the system is broken, it just seems like they're on their own. I'm just wondering, is there anything that needs to be done immediately that is not?
From my perspective, I strongly believe that immigration detention should not exist. Baba Sila was taken without any notice or warning, was disappeared into this detention system. And it's because of, his incredible strength and the incredible strength of his wife, frankly, that he's still here today. You know, we were certainly the lawyers who filed papers in court and were able to get the stay. But once people are swept up in this detention system, they're essentially disappeared and people do not see them.
So there is a great divide in experiences itself. What we are experiencing of the world is a very basic experience. It's the foundation of living experiences. But as consciousness expands, the potential in us to experience more is also there. But if the being is not connected, if the mind is not connected to the consciousness, then these experiences do not manifest. Hence, what happens is that we read about these experiences, we hear about these experiences, but we do not have these experiences. And this also causes a great discontentment in life. You know, in life we are all searching, we are all looking for something. And many people have tried to define what it is. Some people want fame, some people want money, some people want happiness. But if you look very closely to all the different mindly aspirations that we have from life, that we want to achieve this, we want that, the basic desire of every human being is to be satisfied in life. That when I'm satisfied, I'm happy and I'm content. But if you see that how we live our lives, this contentment is not there. Because if we were content, then the mind will not wander from one thought to the other, one desire to the other. Just because we are not content, that is why the mind is wavering and the mind is moving. Many sages have also very beautifully explained that it is the movement of the mind. It is the mind moving from one thought to the other, one desire to the other. That is the cause of great unrest in our life, great unhappiness in our life. And this unhappiness exists because we do not know who we are. So one of the most ancient wisdoms of Sanatan Dharma is Tat Tvam Asi, that you are what you are looking for. Now this is a very this sentence has a very deep meaning, that you are what you are looking for. Now what am I looking for? Now if I am looking for contentment, if I am looking at a point of saturation, then that point of saturation also has to exist within me. Now this is where things get a little complicated, because the human mind is designed to wander. It is designed to think one thought or the other. Now what we are thinking of this world is all the worldly thoughts. It's our worldly engagement. We are reacting to different reactions that we are receiving from this world. But spiritual experiences do not lie in these worldly experiences. For a spiritual experiences, the mind has to stop wandering and it has to be focused within you into something which is permanent.
Cotopaxi is very special to me. I've heard a lot of times that I can do this and that I don't have what it takes because of my disability. When I was a child, I had a lot of issues with both of my feet. I started breaking my ankles all the time. After a while, I found a doctor that offered to do an experimental surgery.
I think that health systems in places like Ecuador and in a lot of the world are stretched thin. They're not quite working right. And in spite of everyone's best efforts, there's a person in the middle that's feeling that something's still not quite right.
So I had that surgery and it worked for like 5 years. And then I was running one day and I tripped and the material inside exploded. So that was the beginning of everything. They did like maybe 12 surgeries. My mom told me like, this is not life. Your pain is so high that your body just shuts down. Like you're not even awake. And that's when I started feeling like I don't want this leg anymore. When I was pushing for the amputation, no one really supported it.
We have so many cultural beliefs and stigmas against disability. Like, we paint it as a loss. We paint it as a pity story because the disability narrative in so many societies is bad. But the amputation and the disability is not something disempowering. In fact, it's empowering. It's more empowering in a way because you learn to navigate things differently, you learn to be creative, and you learn to just constantly find solutions where there's many times not solutions offered. She knew she wanted her life back, and she saw that this was her best opportunity, and she had to fight. What ROMP stands for is this fight for autonomy over our own bodies, and that should be a basic human right.
The recovery process wasn't great, but it was the best decision I've ever made in my life. I wouldn't change a single thing. My physical therapist has told me this could happen in the same way than the other leg, and you need to be really aware of that because at some point the damage will progress. But I'd rather keep living and enjoying nature, mountains, and my life and pushing boundaries. And if it happens, I will find a way around it, and I will learn to use another prosthetic leg if I have to. I don't care. I know it's possible. I hope there will be more women that will follow the steps I'm trying to take, that there will be a lot of girls that won't question their ability and that they listen to the voices of possibility. If I could tell those girls and women something, it would be fight back as hard as you can, because you never know what comes after trying and after failing and after getting back on your feet and try again. That's why I'm doing this.
Luke, we're here in Los Angeles. You're homeless. Tell me about it.
Well, there's a lot to tell. Los Angeles is a very, very crazy place. I came here with my wife. Her family said, come on. We got on a Greyhound bus. We're on our way. We started calling the first day. We left, and no answer. We figured just a fluke. Called the second day, no answer. And from then on, no answer. We haven't spoken to them since. You come here and you come here and you get stuck. And if you got nowhere to go and no real family to bail you out, which me and my wife don't have, you kind of are forced to go to Skid Row. Skid Row is by the bus station. It's where all the shelters are. It's where all the food is. It's where all the resources are located. But Skid Row is a very nasty place.
Yeah, go on.
It will make it so you are constantly just worried about what you need to survive because everything's being taken from you. You're being taxed for living on certain streets. You have to pay. Basically, drugs run most of Los Angeles itself, but especially Skid Row. Skid Row hurt me in ways I can't ever explain. It made me do things, it made me see things that I wish I never would have seen. It's amazing what people can do to other people. I especially feel bad for the females here. They get used up in a whole different way. My wife experienced that. But ultimately, I've seen some great acts of kindness here. I've seen some great things. The problem is you get trapped here, and people say, I panhandle for money. People say, get a job. Okay, well, if I had somewhere to rest my head where my stuff wasn't stolen, where I didn't have to worry about blankets, where I didn't have to worry about food, I might be able to get a job. But then also, I've been seen through this entire town now, and now I'm known as homeless. So to get a job, I have to leave the area. I have nowhere to get a shower daily. I have nowhere to keep work clothes. It's not as easy as get a job, you know?
Any service providers, any homeless
They
service?
try, but I can't keep a cell phone because it gets stolen. I can't keep a cell phone charged when I do got it. There are people that stop by once in a while and take down my name and my information and say they're going to help. And then I see them again maybe 2 or 3 times here and there. Or I see them again and they turn their head and walk the other way and feel ashamed that they didn't help me or couldn't help me. I have people that throw me $10, $20 and think that's going to solve everything. And next time they're mad at me because I'm not off the street because they're $10 or $20. But I'm at a point where I'm stuck. This is what I do. I've become comfortable with it. I don't see no other way out. Like I said, I feel like I'm falling and never hitting a bottom, or at least hitting a bottom that's false. And every time I go to try to climb out, that bottom's pulled from me and I fall more. If I could reach an absolute solid bottom, I might be able to climb out. But there is no real bottom because it's always being pulled out from under you. You're always falling further. The only thing I really have to say to anybody is just appreciate family, because family is the one thing I don't have that might save me from this. Because when you mess up and you make a mistake, most people got family to bail them out. I don't, neither does my wife. So we gotta eat this one ourselves. We gotta find our way out ourselves. And so appreciate family. They're the most important thing. And don't judge, because a lot of these people are 2 missed paychecks and no family away from being right here. You know, and it can happen really quick. It really can. Before you know it, and you're stuck.
Lakpa Sherpa is a pioneer in the world of extreme mountaineering. In the year 2000, she became the first Nepali woman to successfully summit Mount Everest. Making West Hartford, Connecticut her home since 2002, Ms. Sherpa successfully summited Mount Everest for the 10th time in 2022, the most of any woman in the world.
I had a dreams, really long term dream, my childhood dreams, 100%. I want to summit Everest.
It's such an extreme sport, mountaineering and mountain climbing, and especially Mount Everest. I mean, to do it 10 times is just incredible.
And it's an inspiration for a lot of people. I wish I had the ability to climb Everest 10 times.
Lakpa Sherpa was born in a remote village in the Makalu region of the Nepalese Himalayas in 1973, one of 11 children. With no schooling available to girls, Lakpa's interest in nature began at a very early age.
I see my eye open, just this beautiful nature mountain around me. And this mountain so close, might touch my heart.
Lakpa's father worked as a local guide and merchant while her mother took care of their children at home. After years of experience working as a porter for climbing teams, Lakpa told her male relatives that she was ready to climb Mount Everest.
And people say, what? You are a woman. You cannot climb Everest. I really want to go. I can. All the same. I know I can, but people don't believe me.
Ms. Sherpa escaped the service culture when she pushed hard to be part of the Nepali Women Millennium Expedition in 2000. Lakpa was the only climber on that team to successfully summit Mount Everest.
I'm the first Nepali woman who summit. I give a good opportunity to Nepalese women. They say, look, Lakpa, she not die. You know, we can summit maybe 1 time. I'm very happy. That is my gift.
Soon after her successful summit in 2000, Lakpa Sherpa met a Connecticut-based Romanian-born mountain climber in Kathmandu. Lakpa moved to West Hartford, Connecticut in 2002, and the two were married. Along the way, they had 2 daughters and continued to summit Mount Everest at every opportunity.
Michael Kotis from the Hartford Current at the time had mentioned that somebody had moved to Connecticut that had climbed Mount Everest, and they were looking to go back. And it was, George and Lapka.
By 2004, that group of climbers formed the Connecticut Everest Expedition and made their way to China to begin their mountaineering adventure.
We spent a month and a half acclimatizing. We made it up to Camp 3, and we started climbing from Camp 3 and at like 11 o'clock at night. Made it to the summit at a little past 7 in the morning, and we stayed on the summit for 30 minutes and then descended the mountain.
Today, Lakpa has her own mountain climbing guide business, Cloudscape Climbing.
I want to share my experience. I want to guiding these people. I want to help them. Hiking makes really happy. Mostly I focus my 2 children going college. School is very important.
In 2022, Lakpa returned to her beloved Mount Everest to attempt to summit the mountain for an unprecedented 10th time. She brought her youngest daughter, Shiny, on this expedition to begin teaching her how to climb at high altitudes.
Shiny is born in Connecticut. And I put him, she's there, she's good. She's ice climbing, she try everything.
Lakpa Sherpa returned from her 2022 expedition as the only woman in the world who has successfully climbed Mount Everest 10 times, an unimaginable accomplishment.
How you doing, sir? Good, good.
Miranda rights were written to protect key constitutional rights: the right against self-incrimination, the right to an attorney.
You have the right to remain silent.
But when a person doesn't understand those rights, the rights have no meaning. Nowhere is this more evident than with children and youth in the custody of law enforcement.
Do you understand?
Yes.
He has a big heart. He was a sweet little boy that said he would grow up to be a police officer one day. As far as I knew, my son was at school. So when I get a call from the station letting me know that my son was at the station, it kind of blew me away because I didn't understand why he was even there.
In California, the police can take a child out of school without letting the parents know. And even if the child is asking for a parent, the police can decide not to contact the parent.
Youth have the same constitutional rights during interrogations as adults do. It's not that all children don't understand their rights. They have less capacity to understand their rights. They need help and guidance.
Young people may be scared to say they want a lawyer because they're being asked tough questions by an officer who they see as a figure of authority.
Right now, you're just a big fucking liar, big cold-blooded killer. Like I told you, how are we going to play this? You going to tell me the truth?
The decision about whether or not to give up your Miranda rights is a life-altering decision. When a child decides to speak to the police, he essentially is exposing himself to being interrogated.
The police can use psychologically coercive techniques with children. They can tell a child that they have evidence against them, even if they don't.
While he was being interrogated, they threatened him a lot. They said a lot of mean, hurtful things about his father.
We have found when young people are scared, they are alone, they don't understand the process, they're much more prone to make things up, to say anything that they think will have the process end or to have them go home.
That night, while he was being interrogated, they briefly allowed me to see my son.
I'll be straight up with you. I wasn't there. They told me that if I don't say that I did it, that they were going to tell the judge that I'm a cold-blooded killer and then I'm going to get more time.
So you said you did it?
Yeah, because they forced me to.
I think it's important for the process for anyone, any child under the age of 18 to be explained what their rights are, what Miranda rights are.
If passed, SB 1052 would ensure that youth under the age of 18 would talk to an attorney to make sure that they understand their rights.
To have a brief consultation with an attorney so that they understand when they are waiving their rights, I think does not impede the process of an investigation.
All this bill does is require police officers and courts to recognize that the person that they are interrogating is fundamentally different than adults are.
The big companies selling you your smartphones and electric vehicles are worth trillions of dollars. All those devices and cars have cobalt in them. But the people digging that cobalt out of the ground earn $1 or $2 a day. That's an injustice, that is modern slavery, and that cannot stand. My name is Siddharth Kara. I'm a British Academy Global Professor and an adjunct lecturer at the Harvard Kennedy School of Government. For the last few years, I've been traveling to the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and I've been researching cobalt mining. What I've seen in the Congo is hell on earth. There are children caked in grime and filth, digging in pits and tunnels to excavate cobalt-containing ore, and that ore gets processed and refined and sent up into the formal supply chain to smartphone makers and EV manufacturers around the world. I think the most important thing young people can do is to be aware of the fact that the children in the Congo scraping and scrounging for cobalt are directly touching their lives every day. And I think knowing that and spreading awareness of that is the most important first step. And awareness will lead to action.
To be a pioneer means that you are constantly pushing boundaries and challenging certitudes. You know, many people told me it was impossible. However, the Solar Impulse airplane showed the way ahead. Today, H55 continues to innovate.
Well, you know what is incredible today is that for the first time, Audrey and I will fly together in an electric airplane. During the entire Solar Impulse project, we had to put the priority on batteries and not on pilots, which means that Audrey and I have always flown separately, never together. But now the technology has so much evaluated, and this is actually what we wanted to prove, that we can fly together. So I really look forward.
In the chain of progress, every link is crucial. H55 is one of the links leading us to a cleaner and more sustainable aviation. You have to become a pioneer of tomorrow.
Though you left this earth, I know time keeps moving forward since you made your journey home. I feel lost and lonely. You're not here to hold me no more. Though you left this earth, I know time keeps moving forward since you made your journey home. I feel lost and lonely. You're not here to hold me